What's up? What's up? What's up? We are going live with another Web Dev Office Hours today. Let's get into some code, and I also need a little. Let's see. I need my terminal. And we'll get my dev server up and running with NodeMon. And I should get my server going. There you go. Fast Family Forecast. Looking for a forecast for Charlie Furt, for Jocelynshire, Shire, Newlands, no weather for West Columbus, none for Port. Come on, a lot of cities that we don't have weather for. There we go, for Frederick. Okay, so what am I working on today? Well, I think we still have a little bit of work that we need to do for our EdgeWorker to actually be EdgeWorker friendly code, and that is in this get weather for city. We are pulling the OpenWeather API information from process env, which we cannot currently do. So instead, what we need is to pull that information off of the request. So to get environment variables, we have this request.getVariable key. So what I'm going to do is call that this, right? That's how we get that variable from our Akamai service, which means that we have a little bit of a refactor question that we have to do here. Do we grab the variable here from the request and then pass that variable into our get weather for city, or do we just pass the request object into get weather for city? This is an interesting challenge. I think what I might do is take this opportunity to create a higher order function. I think that's going to be a cool way to handle this. So we're going to say const weather API key, because this has to be defined on each request. We do that. So we store the variable there, and then I'm going to create a little like weather app, a sort of facade, I guess. Do I want to do that? Do I want a higher order function? Well, first of all, I'm going to pull this information out of here. That's kind of in the way. So let's make a types.d.ts file, and we're going to convert this from type definition to, or from a JS doc to a TypeScript type definition, like this, type that equals this. All of these stars are going to be removed, and then this we don't need. That's the end of the object, and that we don't need. Cool, so we've got our type definition. Now what we want to do is import that type definition here, and I think I can just do import /types b.ts, and I think Is it just types? That work? No. An import path cannot end with a .d.ts file. I think I need to check out my own documentation around this. Austin Gill, TypeScript. Start with TypeScript the easy way. Cool. I want to import. So yeah, that's how I do it from TypeScript or from JS docs. I'm not exporting it. There you go. Export type that. Okay. And there we go. Cool. I've got my types working now. So there's my global types or my local types. There's my type definition. It's coming in just fine. We know what that is. So next thing's next. Types done. Now what I want to do is create something like let's see. Let's just call it a function. Create weather API. We should take the API key and is going to return return an object, and we'll just like have this guy come up into that such that get weather from city is now going to be a method on that API. This is a little bit funky now. Okay. What's complaining about that? Man, that's annoying. Well, anyway, let's go here. So my API key, I can switch out here for my API key. That is going to be a string. So we don't need that anymore because that's being passed in from our guy up here, which is a string. And then I can say, let's say weather API equals create weather API with my OpenWeather API key. And then we'll say that is await get weather for the city. Cool. Know what that is? OpenWeather map response. Looks good. And we kind of need to do this. We kind of need to do it this way because on each request, we have to grab the variable information, or the API key each time we make a request. And then we kind of need to, I don't know, I could have done this another way and whatever, but we'll just, we could have just passed this in as a second parameter, I suppose. This may be a little bit more complicated than we need. Yeah, let's keep it simple. Do we have that? No, we still want to undo all of that information. Oop. Okay, we'll undo that. We're going to take a city, and param is a string, is the API key. And city first and then API key, or API key first and then city? I don't know. But we've got our API key. We're no longer pulling it out of there. Get weather from city now requires this API key. And that's how that works. Easy enough. We could, of course, pull this logic in here. Yeah, I think this is all right. Easier to test this way, I suppose. At the point where we may want to reuse this function or something like that in a different edge worker, then we may want to refactor it to add more functionality. For example, I just realized I'm actually going to redo the work that I just undid, because OpenWeather Maps API. No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay. We want to get actually some more information. So I want the current weather, obviously. I may also want, I need to see what the plans are. Free. Current weather, minute, hourly forecast, 2 days, daily forecast, 7 days. So these are the two that I want. Is the 7 days and the 2 days. Hourly forecast. Okay. Maybe it's this one. And daily forecast might be the same, but just gives me 7 days back. So let's look at that. There's also this one, 5-day/3 hour forecast. That might be useful. Okay, so I've got the APIs that I want to use. Oh, that's Pro. That's API. That's API. I think that's pretty clear that that's going to be Pro. So, and we're just using the free plan for now. One call, daily, climate, bulk. Are these all going to tell me? API, Pro, API. Okay, so I have the 16-day one. And okay, so I might have access to 3 different APIs. Let's see what we got. And what I need to do is essentially, I want to go back and actually create that thing that I had a second ago. So function create API. We're going to take an API key. We're going to give that a type of string, and it's going to, what am I doing? It's going to return an object where one method is here. Get weather for city. No longer needs an API key. No longer has that second parameter. And it really bothers me that it returns that, but maybe I can do an implicit return. So it takes that, and this thing is going to tell me what it does. I can get rid of that now. It returns a promise. So JSON, all I need to do really is put that type definition here. Type is there. And that should have an implicit return now. Type, no. Return is JSON. Oh, I need this. I need it there. There we go. And now my type definition is correct. Cool. Response.json. Cool. Could maybe have done it there as well, but this is fine. Now you're complaining about something. Insert a period. Prettier. Prettier. I think you got that one wrong. It must be prettier that's throwing things off there. Okay. Let's make this a little bit easier to look at. And then we want not weather. I want current weather for city. And now we need to do one more thing, is actually say const API equals create API with the OpenWeather API key. Get rid of that. And API dot. Cool. So that's working. Now we have our variable, our API key that's being pulled in during the request. We're generating this API object with that variable, and that's going to be a little bit of a closure there where it's capturing the API key and then it's creating a new function where it's using that API key. And then that second method only needs one parameter, doesn't need the API key every time. Cool. Next, I need to make another API call because what we want to do, well, first let's make sure this is working, right? So in theory, I implemented that API. In theory, I had implemented this method called request.getVariable, and it just pulls that information from the process.env anyway. So we no longer have that dependency on grabbing variables out of process.env. So that's cool. Working more or less like Akamai EdgeWorkers. You could deploy this thing, and as long as you have your configuration set up properly, this will work. Great. Next thing is I want to make my actual weather app work a little bit nicer, because right now I have the current weather. Great. That's not much of a forecast because I want to know what the hourly weather looks like, and then probably what the next however many days look like, right? So that's where these APIs are going to come in. So the one call, make just one API call and get all your essential weather data for a specific location with our new one call API. Cool. We get current weather, minute, hourly, daily, forecast, national, historic. Okay, that sounds more like what I might want. So this takes Latin long, API ID, exclude units, lang. So can it tell me information about the city? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so that kind of sucks. I basically have to use the latitude and longitude. And that is difficult. So let's try this. We've got current weather for the city. Daily and 5-day. We might want to make that even better, right? Let's make this more flexible. So this API docs for the current weather. Let's modify, well, see, look at this. I've got city available here. The city name is fields in API response. Built-in geo other features. Built-in geocoding, the city name. You do that here. City name. No. Built in. No. Might still work. We'll give it a try. So let's do, what was I doing? Right. Current weather data. I want to make this a little bit more robust and say that this can actually take maybe all of these inputs. Latitude, longitude, lat and lon. So instead of this being a string, we can make that an object. And we can say, say that's params. And we're going to say this is params, and params has the city name, which is a string. Right, that needs to be on the next line. Cool. Params has the city name. So we've got the latitude, which is a number, I believe. The longitude, which is a number. And I basically want this to map the same way. So mode, response format. Okay, sure. Mode, which is XML and HTML. Also values, so default is JSON, it sounds like. So this can be one of JSON or XML or HTML. Okay, that's the mode. Units. Put that up here and say units is going to be is going to be is it metric or imperial or standard? Standard. Cool. And then the language. Language code. Okay. All of these different language codes. Cool. I'm not going to type all of those out. Got the mode. Got that. And we've got the lang is a string. That's as simple as we can keep it. Cool. Parameters. Thank you for changing that on me. That's fine. Cool. Parameters is that. And we're going to say city name should actually be Q, shouldn't it? Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna do that, document that as, okay, maybe I need to make this a little bit more better. Property is a string, which is parameters.q, and we're going to say that that is city name. And that way, we don't see all those things. That's unfortunate. Well, what I want to do is say const what do I want to do? Query is equal to a new URL search params with an object that spreads in the parameters and also assigns the app ID to the API key. Okay. Now that we've got that, we can do our question mark there. And we can do query.toString. Cool. What is this complaining about? Not assignable to type string. New URL search params. That should totally work. So I'm gonna push that away. That should totally work. If I do new URL search params of an object, A is 1, and I do .toString, that's what I would expect. And that's what I'm trying to put in here. Very interesting. Oh, that's because, okay, my latitude and longitude cannot be, or have to be strings. So lat is parameters dot lat to string. Kind of annoying, but there we go. Now everything is happy. This is getting all the strings. That's actually not correct because I can totally pass in a number value there. So I might actually do the unsafe thing and get rid of that. That's annoying. And then I'll just quick fix and ignore this message. I know that I'm doing that correctly and this looks just fine to me. So the other thing is, what happens if this doesn't pass any parameters? Well, we may cross that bridge when we get to it. Something else that I want to do is actually change this format because parameters dot q is not defined, even though I have it here. So I need to change this format. And we're going to say that this is an object called parameters, and we'll move this up. So copy that. Remember, that's going to be lat. And I think I'm actually going to, this may be an easier way. Oops, that's not what I want. I want property. Take this out, move that. We'll jump all the way to the end. We will close that and name it, and then get rid of those commas. Cool. That should have updated what parameters is. Still don't have this guy right. That work like that. That should be defined, but okay. One more thing I need here is parameters dot. Still complaining about that. I got something wrong. Stock object parameter. Yeah, what happens if it's an object? Object. Oh, okay, so it shouldn't be a property. Got it. These should all be. There you go. Oh, still no? Employee. Object. String. It looks the same to me, besides this being object. Oh, is that why? Is it because that's lowercase object? No, that was it. Cool, that's working. Which also makes me wonder if I had it working correctly before. Let's see. Nope. Redo all of that. Makes it easy to come back to. Let's paste in the old version. Let's change this to param and say parameters dot q. Okay, no, that's fine. This is the correct way to do it. So that, and why am I doing all of this? Just so that I can have some documentation around what this queue is, because see if I hover over it, we can see that Q is the name of the city. So let's actually expand on that. The name of the city to query. This we might want to expand on and say latitude, longitude, units should be pretty self-explanatory, mode, and language. I guess language. Okay, cool. So that I'm pretty happy with. Let's see if we haven't broken anything. We have down here, we're going to say Q is the city, and it's going to complain because all of these are required properties, and all of these really actually need to be like optional. So with all those being optional, this is now set. That's great. Our application should still be working, hopefully. Cool, we've proven that it works. Now let's try, now that we've made that super more complicated, but it doesn't actually change how it works. Great, thank you TypeScript for the distraction. We've got current weather for the city. And actually this shouldn't no longer be current weather for a city. That's why we changed it. This is just current weather. There's probably a TypeScripty way to say, hey, we either need the city or the Latin lon. But for now, this is fine. Also, the units probably changed. So yeah, probably not 275 degrees. I'm actually going to set here the units to default to metric. So this little trick, because units is being defined here first, before we do the spread, this basically treats it as a default value. Now we could have done that all as well by setting a default value here in parameters. I kind of like doing it this way for whatever reason. But if units are provided in our parameters, it will use those units. Otherwise, it'll default to metric, and I actually don't want metric. I wanted standard. Cool. So let's see. Okay, find the city that works. There we go. Okay, we don't have, oh, that's because it's not standard. It should be imperial. There you go. Okay, a lot of cities that don't have weather. That, I guess, is the weather for Downers Grove. Looks like Downer weather to me. So that's cool. And what we can do next is, if we want to change that to a different type of unit, and we say blah, it's going to say, whoa, that's not a unit. What are the units available? And it's going to give us options: imperial, metric, standard. Let's try metric. Pretty sweet. And now it looks like, are we in metric or are we in imperial? It's hard to tell for that last one. 18 degrees minimum, maybe, for Thousand Oaks. I think that's Southern California. So yeah, that's probably Celsius, even though we haven't updated our Fahrenheit there. Okay, cool. So let's keep that with imperial. So now we're getting the current weather for the city, and the units are imperial. And we can see that this is the name of the city, and that's just units. Cool. Next, I want to also, I'm going to change this to the current weather. Everywhere. Let's change that to current weather. And then we're going to say the, I don't know, the one call. Done with current weather. This is current weather. Wait, what did I just close? This looks like the current weather data. That's not what we want. What I want is this one call. So current weather's gone. One call, we're going to copy this. And we're going to do something very similar here. We're going to say, I don't know, one call equals await API dot one call, and we'll pass in some stuff later. First, for now, we need to define this. Okay, this is starting to get a little bit funky for how much code I've got going on, so I'm actually going to take this guy and pull it out into a file. I'm going to say import API from, no, import create API from /create API.js. And we'll hit save on that. We'll add a new file called create API.js, where we will export default what we just copied. Export default. I want to do that. Is create API. Cool. That's my default export. This should be that. Looking good. You're complaining about file name is not kebab case. Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay. Going. Okay, create API, great. API.js should actually be coming from create API. And HTTP request should be imported from HTTP request. Cool. I don't know what I did there. Where am I? Or create API from there. Oh no, I already have that. There you go. Cool. Create API is being used. Format date probably could be pulled into its own function as well. In the meantime, we are going to come here. Create API needs a new function called onCall, which is an async function. And it is also going to take something similar to this, I imagine. Lat launch, API ID, exclude, we need to add, and then units and lang. So we don't have a mode, but we do have exclude. We've got units and lang, and I think we don't have this name of the city, but we'll try that. Now exclude needs to be current, minutely, hourly. That's funny. These are the options that we have for exclude. And we'll say for each of those, I'm going to do that. And then wrap this whole thing. Cool. Current, minutely, hourly, daily alerts. Those are the things that are allowed to be excluded in the parameters. And I'm going to do really a lot of the same stuff. Maybe boilerplate it. Right, you're complaining because once again, that Latin launch thing. Okay. I mean, it might actually be easier to refactor to just be like a fetch request. Takes my API key, passes it in. We'll solve that problem some other time. So the URL is this onCall thing. So that's going to be my API root. Lat launch, exclude app ID, great. We've got our app ID in there already. Units are imperial. Exclude is an option. And we'll see if we can pass that query in there. All right, let's give that a try. onCall is that. You're complaining because you don't have any parameters. So we'll try this. We don't need the units actually. We'll try this for the city. And then what we're going to do is at the end of everything, we're going to put a pre-tag and JSON string fi this value, say null for the replacer, and put in number 2 for that other thing. So close my pre-tag. Okay. What are you complaining about? Undefined, sorry. Happy to make you happy. Let's see what this looks like. 400, no location specified, no location specified. Okay, so the city is not going to work, obviously. So we cannot have this. Means that we have to pass in a lat and a longe. Fortunately, we can grab that from the user location. So let's actually grab more information by destructuring that data. And we should have, oh, we don't have Latin launch. That's right. Oh, annoying. So this puts me into a little bit of a pickle. In order to get all of that information that I want, I need the latitude and longitude. Okay, let's move on. Let's say for today, we're not going to use this API call. We need to use the ones that do support city names. So 16-day forecast and 5-day forecast. Forecast and forecast daily. Okay, let's go to our API thing. I'm going to comment this out for now because that's not actually supported. I'm going to copy this guy because I think that these are going to be pretty close. So we've got current weather. Then we've got forecast. Then we've got, that's the forecast daily, and this is just the forecast. 5-day and 16-day. Well, let's leave it to just forecast. How about that? That's weather. This should be forecast. Cool. Let's go to our main.js file and let's say it should actually be forecast. And let's see if that worked. Okay, cool. We have our current weather, and then we have this object. And this object is going to list basically those same values that we have in our current weather. It's going to list them as different days. Okay, so we can take that and we can map over that, right? So that's my current weather. I think what I'm going to have is another table. How many items are in here? Count is 40. Okay. And these are 3-hour increments, I believe. New date, that times 1000 is okay, Friday. And yep, 3 hours apart. Because that is my 5-day, 3-hour forecast. And I also think I want to try and get this daily one. So let's try that too. Say daily. We're going to copy that. We're going to paste it down there. And then what did I do? Actually, did I get rid of that? Yeah, let's try this now. Let's say the daily forecast is at forecast/daily, and I think everything else is basically the same minus the count. This also takes a count, which we have not accounted for. And this takes a app ID count mode units lang, app ID count mode units lang. Okay, looks like that was repeated by accident on their docs. Okay, so we've got the daily. These two have something that's slightly different. Oops, I want to get both of them, and I want to add a param, which is the number, and it is an optional one called parameters.count. Okay. And I do realize that all of this is a lot of repeated code that we could probably quite easily refactor into something a little bit better. We will maybe do that. For now, I'm just trying to get things to work. So daily takes the forecast. The daily one is a little bit different. It's forecast/daily, right? So forecast/daily. The query parameters are the same. And if I change the reload here, invalid API key. That can't be right. Unless the app ID is different. Oh, unless this is not available to free accounts. 401. Fire API key is not activated. You are using a free subscription and try requesting data available in other subscriptions. For example, 16-day forecast. There you go. That's the problem. The daily is not going to be available to us, which is fine. Get rid of that. We can undo that and get rid of this daily guy. Cool. So now we've got the current weather and the 5-day forecast. That's plenty good for me. Let's come down here and let's say H2 is 5-day forecast. Right. And we're going to say the value. I think I need to see that one more time. Five-day forecast is going to look like this. Right, so this is going to be a different response. I'm going to pull this guy up. And this should no longer import this type. We're actually going to bring this into the type definitions here. That's not what I want. Type def is this type. And there you go. Now it's a local type that we can reference multiple times. And this object is going to be slightly different. The code and the message is going to be the same. So we're going to do something called pick. How's this work? Pick T in K returns TFP. From T, pick a set of properties whose keys are in the union K. So, right, takes that. What we're going to pick is COD message. And this type is cool. So that means JSON.cod and message. Cool, we've got those. And this is actually going to be a union of that. Where's my union? And an object. Boy, this TypeScript stuff, man, it is not fun sometimes. It's an object with count, which is a number, and list, which is an array of OpenWeather map responses. Cool. You're not happy. Because why? Does that need to be in there? No. Is it not double and? I think that was it. Okay, we've got that. JSON looks good, which means we can do JSON dot, yep, count, cod, list, message, or yeah, we can do list at the position 0 dot, yep. Cool. TypeScript types are in place. Now, forecast. That's what we've got. And our forecast should be other things similar here. Forecast.cod. The code is not a 200. Okay. Code is not equal 200. Then we will return nothing, I think, for now. Otherwise, it will return this guy. Cool. We'll put our HTML here, which is going to be the 5-day forecast information. And we'll get to that part tomorrow. So on a bad request, we don't find the city. On a good request, we get the current weather for Honolulu. And we should have got the 5-day forecast as well. All right, let's see what's going on there. See, not found. Yep. Cool. Ah. Wow. Hold up. I need to see something. So it looks like current weather returns a number. Forecast returns a string. Yeah, okay. I guess that wasn't very helpful. Let's say type of current weather code is a number type of forecast code. They're both strings. But then, oh my goodness, that is an interesting API. So in the case where the city is not found, we always get a string. In the case where the city is found, the current weather returns a number, and the forecast returns a string. Okay, good to know. Good to have that figured out. To make that safer, let's just throw all of it inside of number. And then we're going to go up to our TypeScript thing and actually realize that in some cases, this response, or no, not our TypeScript, our types, COD can be a number or a string. And that's why type definitions are kind of cool, because they can help us catch things like that. Where if I just left this as a 200, would TypeScript tell me anything? No. But that's okay, because we know this can be a string or a number. So cool. Cool. That is it. I have to go. Thank you very much.